Hello and welcome everybody. Super excited. Guru 2025. Very pumped to be here today. Thank you all for joining and hope you're enjoying the conference so far. Let's go ahead and kick it off into today's presentation. So we're going to be talking about the end-to-end email deliverability automation playbook. Yeah, that was a mouthful, even for me to say that. The concept here is that, especially if you've been in Guru long enough, I've been going ahead and sharing all this information around deliverability, and I want to take it to the next step. How are we going to build a system that scales with your email program? And how do we take deliverability past just the definition? And that's what I'm going to be able to do with you guys here today. So a little background on myself, just a little quick introduction. I'm Brian Minnick. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at ZeroBounce. And I have over 15 years, it's probably 20 years at this point, but who cares? Experience here in tech and marketing. My background's in software development. I've moved into process, people, and systems. And so I feel like I understand the schematics and how things work, how they're wired, and why they operate in the way they do. And I translate that for normal, everyday people who are in marketing to be able to execute against that. I have a QR code here up from my LinkedIn. If you would like to connect with me, please do. I'm very accessible. You're more than welcome to send me a specific question, and I will absolutely give you a full-blown answer back through LinkedIn. So please connect with me, whether it's for questions or just to digest some more content. A little bit about the company that I am with and represent. I'm with ZeroBounce. We are an email validation and deliverability platform for over 500,000 clients, which is kind of insanity. You know, as we're breaking 500,000 customers on the platform, we're servicing some of the biggest logos in the industry and quite honestly, the world. And our whole goal and mission is around to helping people connect with real deliverable emails and make sure that you're getting the most ROI and the biggest impact for your campaigns. And so with that, and the reason I'm sharing this, by the way, is because the amount of data that we see, the amount of deliverability issues, concerns, questions, it's a wealth of information coming my way. And I want to share and translate some of that back to you to some of the actions we've done with some of these clients. And so let's start back at the basics real quick. It's only going to be 1 or 2 slides on the basics. So buckle up. It's coming. It's coming. Deliverability matters because it is the difference between dollars and pennies. Okay. Deliverability means that your emails are in the inbox. Most people see on their ESPs delivered. Yeah, that's like the most worthless stat and definition that anybody can give you. It means absolutely nothing. The real question you need to ask is delivered where? Delivered to the spam folder, delivered to the inbox, not delivered at all. That's obviously something that's not good either. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But inbox delivery, being in the inbox is 100% key. It is the golden nugget of your campaigns. You have to be in the inbox, okay? The reasons you may not be in the inbox, or it may be difficult to understand if you are in the inbox, is due to fragmented tools. So you have tools all over the place. You have to go here to do this. You have to go there to do that. It can be costly. It takes time. And really, deliverability is the foundation of your email, because I don't care what content you send to people. If they don't see it, don't open it, and don't do anything with it, what are we even talking about? Okay, so step one is it has to be in the inbox. And where that starts is around the type of email addresses that are on your list or your database or your campaign, wherever you're sending to. There's some few things here. We have to get these things out of the way, okay? Bounce rates in email deliverability are a huge indicator before it even sends, right? So in the send process, now your ESP is making determinations about you. If your bounce rates are too high, it's going to affect your deliverability, and your ESP may even just kick you off or shut down your account or pause you and make you kind of have a conversation or make you clean up that database. That should be a really big indicator of how serious this is. It hasn't even left, and they're stopping what you're trying to accomplish. So make sure your bounce rates are under control. The other one's going to be around spam traps. These are email addresses created by ISPs and anti-spam companies that are designed to catch bad actors. Let me say it again. They are designed to catch bad actors. So why would you have a spam trap on your list? Potentially you purchased a list, you acquired it through some means. Maybe your sales team is injecting some data into your CRM or your ESP, which is very common, by the way. They're constantly looking for new leads. They're just getting them any way they can. And then also abuse. So these are people who are known to mark your emails as spam. those are very detrimental towards your deliverability and your email reputation. Okay. And so at the end of the day, bad data, it's just skewing your results and it's costing you money. I've talked to a lot of people and they're so focused on quantity. Why? Why does quantity the only metric you're thinking about and not quality? Why do you want to pay more money to store all these bad email addresses just to have this great number? That's kind of where I'm trying to put your head right now. It's about quality, and your email deliverability will have a direct result and impact based on the quality of the emails that are there. So here is the nuts and bolts. This is what I wanted to get into. So in the foundation side, the quality of the data is really important. Once the quality of the data is in a good spot, now we can run the deliverability as a system. So I've put these steps together for you. And the way that I want you to think about it, and the way you have to kind of think about it, unfortunately, especially in today's world, is that deliverability is not a one-time task. There is no way for you to just say, my deliverability is always good and my deliverability is not good. It varies. It goes up and down, and it's reactive to what's happening in real time from your sending patterns. And so we're going to talk about the 4 steps: the capture process, the pre-send process, the post or mid-send process, and what to do if you need. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because I come from a background of systems. I come from a background of firefighting. I'm very good at both of them. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like firefighting and I don't have time for firefighting. And so what we started to do is develop process around how do we reduce the amount of firefighting we have to do due to email sending. And the way and the answer for that is systems. Okay. So we're going to talk about the framework. We're going to go through this, and I'm going to go through each one of these kind of sections in pretty good detail so that you know what to do with it. Step 1, this is going to be your CRM. This is going to be wherever the data is either being captured, collected, and stored. You have to start here. Okay. Few ways to look at this. And I'm just listing a bunch of CRMs. I don't care what CRM it is or which ESP it is. It really doesn't matter. Whenever you're adding data to that system, you should be validating that email address to make sure it's a deliverable email with low risk. Okay. Low risk meaning that it's not a group email address, info at, support at, sales at. Those pose a lot of risk that can hurt your deliverability. You may or may not want to send to them, but you should be aware of what's going on there. I don't recommend sending to it, especially if they're not anticipating your email. So you can validate email addresses in real time. We have built so many integrations towards this because we just know how important it is. And again, I don't care if you use ZeroBounce or use somebody else. There's ways to validate email addresses while the user is giving it to you. Okay. So if you're on a sign up form, you can have an API call in the background or just an integration, which is calling an API. And it's just seeing if that email address actually exists. You can see the example here in the screenshot over to the right, where if it's a bad email address, it's going to bounce. So why are you even collecting it? And especially with the user, is it intentional? Probably not. A lot of people are typoing. A lot of people are making errors when submitting data. So let's prevent those errors. Let's make sure that no invalid data goes in there in the first place. Okay. And then also there's concepts around disposable and these risky emails. So valid emails that do send and receive email, but they have a lot of risk behind it. So these disposable emails, these are burner emails that you can spin up from these websites. They're everywhere, by the way. And they have good cases, but they're also abused. And so it's fine if you're collecting an email address that is essentially going to self-destruct in 24 hours, but you should be aware of that and either block it or don't accept it into your mailing platform and store it as you want. You can take your own business decisions. We don't take those. Disposable emails have no place in B2B. They don't work. They're a non-marketable contact. Might as well just throw it out the window as far as I'm concerned. Stop that stuff from coming into your database. Collect good, clean, valid emails. Then that's your framework for step 1, making sure you're capturing everything. Keeping your database and your CRM healthy over time is very important. Okay. I see far too often people just say, well, I validated it 2 years ago. Well, sorry. Probably 20 to 40% of your data has gone bad, especially if you're in B2B. B2B churn right now is insane. We're seeing 28% of data churning, especially, and that's combined B2B and B2C. B2B data is churning significantly higher. It's into the low 30% range. So that means 1 out of every 3 emails that are in your database as a business email address is probably churning. It's churning due to job change. It's churning due to companies shutting down. And it's churning for any other reason. Maybe they switch providers. Maybe they change the email address. It could be a variety of reasons. The point is that you can detect all of that prior to ever sending an email to it. So make sure you're doing stuff like that. And then making sure you're validating the data 2 times minimum per year. Some people say 1 time, fine. But I will tell you this, anything's better than 0 times. So I'm going to make that statement. Anything is better than never checking the data that's in there. Clean this stuff up, guys. This is no different than you going to see your doctor, you going to see your dentist, you're doing your laundry, you're cleaning your house. Okay, this is your house. Your house is the data that you're trying to send to. So validate the data. I would recommend 2 to 3 times per year. That 3 times might be if you're a B2B sender, just due to the amount of churn that we're seeing there. Next, once the data is all cleaned up, and it's keeping clean, by the way, that was the whole point. We want to automate this. So that data cleanup, that should be able to get done in your CRM directly. You shouldn't have to go and do a whole bunch of work to do that. There's set it and forget it products. Check into them. Next is on the pre-send. So here's things that we should do prior to sending out your campaigns. Okay. So we like to think about this as like an inbox readiness checklist. I don't want to overcomplicate it. You guys probably already have a pre-send checklist. Add these items to it. Okay. Number 1, inbox placement testing. I know what you're thinking. I'm already doing that. Well, you're probably not. Sorry. Here's maybe what you're doing today. You are probably sending it to your cell phone, to your friend's iPad, and to your mom's AOL account to see what it looks like on all those different devices and browsers. And you're going, cool, that works. It's good. Looks good. The color's fine. Done. Okay, fine. Yes, you checked out to make sure it's going to render properly. The inbox placement testing is to understand where that email landed. Did it land in the inbox, the spam folder, or was it blocked altogether? This is such an important concept that should be part of your pre-send checklist, and bill it with your seeds that you're sending to yourself and your brother's iPad. Fine. But build it into it. And the inbox placement testing is a network of seeds. And for example, we are doing this. It's a network of seeds. And we're going to give you 150 seeds for you to go ahead and send emails to and your campaign to prior to you sending to your whole list. And what we're going to be doing is going through each network. By networks, I mean Gmail, AOL, Yahoo, all of the major providers, G Suite, Office 365. Where are your emails landing when you send to boxes that don't have bias towards your previous behavior? So I know this for a fact. I've done it myself. You can't send it to your own cell phone and when the inbox and you think you're in the inbox. That's not how it works. Number 1, if it was ever in the spam folder, you pulled it out. So you've already skewed results. And number 2, you have to see this by provider. And it's very difficult for one person to manage 30 different types of providers and understand what's happening and get a report on that. This can all be done. That's what inbox placement testing is. And it's a really important key step. And why it's important is because if you are in the spam folder for, let's say, G Suite, you need to know that. Like, you have to know this. You cannot just rely on, well, whatever. G Suite is potentially, if you're in B2B, that can be 60% of your database might be G Suite accounts. So you're okay with 60% of your emails going to the spam folder? I highly doubt it. That's the awareness I'm trying to bring to you today here with the pre-send checklist and why you want to have this as part of it. You might be in the inbox for G Suite. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're in the inbox for Office 365. Maybe you're not. But you should know that answer. And you should know that answer before you hit send on the campaign. And why is this on all checklists, on all campaigns? Because things may have happened as a result of your previous send. And you need to catch that as well. This is something that should be caught early, that you can do things about it. If you have problems and you're in the spam folder, warm up is the tool to fix this, okay? Warm up is the ability to send signals to those providers to rebuild and repair, or potentially even help beef up the amount of volume that you're trying to send to those networks so that they rebuild and repair the reputation that you've potentially damaged. I'm not ignorant. Nobody is trying to damage their reputation on purpose. The question is, do you know if you did it, and are you doing anything about it? And for most people, unfortunately, the answer is no. These items here will help you identify that and let you know something's wrong. You want to know something's wrong. You don't want to just keep sending more emails out, especially what we call the blind, right? You're just sending into the ether and praying for the best. That's not how you're going to get performance. That's not how you get your ROI. Blacklist monitoring is another one. If your domain ever shows up on a major blacklist, you need to know about that so that you can get yourself off of it. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, we have been blacklisted. And guess what? You have too. It's just, do you know that you were blacklisted? Sometimes the blacklist gets pulled off automatically. Sometimes it was so bad, you need to go reach out to these people and find out why you're on a blacklist and show them why you've done things differently that you should be pulled off the blacklist. This is a real thing. And a lot of people don't realize how serious this actually can be and affect your performance. DMARC monitoring is just something that should be there. You don't have to do anything. This is more about making sure that when you do send your campaign out, you can understand what's going on around your SPF, DKIM, and making sure everything's passing properly. Next step, post-send or mid-send. Okay, there's kind of two different elements here. The post-send, you have to track the performance of this. Okay, and by performance, yes, there's of course the element of your campaign performance. I'm not arguing that. I can't help you there. That's your tools. You're already using them. Fine, do your thing. But what about the performance of deliverability? That can also be tracked. It can be tracked in real time, and it also, some tools do take a little bit of time. I would highly recommend, the screenshot here is a screenshot of Google Postmaster tools, postmaster.google.com. Blah, let me say that again, postmaster.google.com. Create the DNS record, add it to your domain. If you're sending volume over 1,000 emails or 5,000 emails per day, you will get statistics on this. You want to know your spam rates. You want to know the people who are marking you as spam. You want to know your domain reputation. Is it high, medium, or low? Google Postmaster tools will be the ability for you to do that and see it, okay? So that's one way you can measure the performance. And this is, by the way, a snapshot of how Google sees you. Super important, okay? If Google sees your reputation as medium or low, you're in the spam folder. They're telling you you're in the spam folder. This is a free tool. This needs to be turned on for your domain, and you need to get this report set up. It's so simple. Do it. Postmaster.google.com. In addition to that, for the real-time sending, that's when you can still continue to use that inbox testing, the placement tester that I just talked about. You also then run it with your campaign. Add those seeds as recipients on your campaign, because now you're getting real-time feedback as well while your campaign's going out. Is it in the inbox? Is it in the spam folder? It's going to give you another snapshot as to what's going on. So I recommend two inbox tests for every campaign. One prior, just to make sure everything's good. One with it to make sure that the result of that campaign is what you're expecting. You may get a different result because the user behavior of your recipients might change the outcome of your actual campaign versus your first test. Just get the intelligence. That's what you need to find out here. There are a lot of things as well that you can do and your ESPs can do. Not all of them, not all are created equal, but there's some automated things that can happen around throttling, suppression, and alerts. Maybe it's rule-based. For example, if my bounce rate's higher than 4%, stop the campaign. First off, that's a terrible rule because you shouldn't have a bounce rate of 4%, but these are just concepts that are and do exist. For example, if my spam complaint rate goes above 2%, pause the campaign. Why? Why is my spam rate so high? Do people not want this email? Did I bury the unsubscribe somehow? Is the footer not rendering? I don't know, but you wanted to look into that and do some sort of like alerts or potential actions to be able to stop or pause the campaign. Throttle win's another one. Most ESPs are doing this for you, but you can definitely throttle and look at it in sense of being able to send over the course of, 18 hours. Maybe if international people as well, you want to kind of send based on their times and throttle it and get into a good spot there. So as you're sending the campaign and then the completion of your campaign, you should be able to go back and look and understand how that campaign performed. And if there was any issues there, you should be able to identify them. The next step is escalation. So if there's a problem, We have to be able to do something about those problems, guys. You cannot have deliverability problems and try to sweep it under the rug. And I see this far too often. People trying to sweep deliverability problems under the rug and say, nope, not me, not my problem. Other people have this problem. So if you recall, I showed you a bunch of logos on this second slide, whatever. In the beginning of this presentation, some of the largest brands in the world have problems with deliverability. If they're not immune, you're not immune. Okay. You have to know what to do with it. This goes back to the firefighting side. Do you want to fight fires, or do you want to know what to do if something goes wrong? I think that's such an important question. If you're an email marketer, you've probably dealt with this already. And if anything, I'm hoping I'm giving you information so that you can be calmer and don't have to deal with the fires as much. You know what to do. So whether your engagement's too low, the sending history, is this changing up or down? How are the bounce rates? Are they up? Are they down? Did you hit spam traps? How many people are marking your email as spam? All of these things can turn into what can affect your sender reputation. And you need to know what to be able to do with it depending upon the angle. I do not have enough time to go into detail of every single one of those. The concept here is this: you need to know that you need to be able to identify the problem. And I've given you the tools to be able to identify the problem. The next is, what do you do with it? So either whether you can do it or you need outside help, deliverability consultations and consulting is such a huge industry as well. We're now in it because of how many people are asking us to help. So if you don't know what to do, fine. Go get some professional help so we can make sure that your emails are going back into the inbox. Super important. So quickly, I'm going to run through this here, and I'm going to fly through this because I'm running out of time. So here's the automation of deliverability in action. It's going to start with your campaign. I don't care what it is: marketing, sales emails, whatever. You're starting with a campaign. It's going out the door. Step 1, remove the hard bounces. Validate the email addresses and make sure they're removed. Any soft bounces that are coming through your campaign, you should go through and evaluate them. The automatic suppression. People who are marking you as spam need to be suppressed. Stop sending emails to people who are marking you as spam. You guys keep doing it. I don't understand. I get it all the time. Stop sending email to people that are marking you as spam. Next, when you're doing the inbox placement, analyze what's going on before and alongside with the campaign. If you have problems, get alerts, email notifications, Slack messages. Boom, I have a problem. Bounce rate's too high. Give me a Slack message. Let's pause this thing and see what's going on. Do something with it. And then, of course, making sure you're using tools to monitor and protect your reputation. DMARC is going to be one that's going to help with security. Postmaster tool is going to give you all the reputational reports. Warm-up is going to be able to repair and boost any of your deliverability problems. So today, I've tried to give you a framework that you can use to go ahead and move forward, giving you the ability to, automate all of the different tools that you have to deal with today and all of the different components of email marketing. We have gone through and heard enough feedback that said, screw it, we're building this all ourselves. Okay. And that's what we went and did. That is why I understand this so much. We went through and built tools to really help you be able to do most of this. Some of it we can't do. Some of it has to come from Google. Some of it has to come from these other providers. However, one spot to be able to do it all was our goal. And if anything, I'm trying to share that message with you here today that it is possible. So if anyone is interested, if you don't know what I'm talking about, again, I don't care who you use. You need to use tools. There's a lot of tools out there for the email marketing deliverability concepts. We provide it all in what's called ZeroBounce 1. It is a full encompassed offer that has validation, email warmup, DMARC monitoring, blacklist monitoring, inbox testing. Every single thing I've talked about here today is available, and it's $99 a month, which is insanity. Anyway, using us, using someone else, I don't care. These are tools that have to be in your stack and make sure you get good deliverability. If you're ready, you want to do something here, scan that QR code. You can create a free account. And we're also doing 20% off a purchase if you use that promo code GURU2025, which is on this landing page as well, in case you can't find it or you lose it. It's on this landing page. Go ahead and scan the QR code, create your free account. You can test a lot of these tools for free, including the integrations into the CRM system, HubSpot, Salesforce, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all there. And so with that, I am thankful and excited to present this to you all today. I hope it's been useful. My goal is to make sure you're in the inbox. And so with that, I'm sure we have a lot of good questions, and this is definitely your opportunity to ask them. So let's take it away. What questions do we have?
Awesome. Thank you so much for attending the session today. Please be sure to participate in the poll to the right of your screen. You'll also find a free offer pinned to the chat. The deck for today's presentation and a really helpful AI recap will also be available at the bottom of your screen if you scroll down. Thank you, Brian, so much for being here. We have so many great questions that came in from the Q&A tab.
Awesome.
Are you ready to rock and roll with them?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Okay, let's dive straight in. What are risky email addresses?
Oh, okay, good one. So risky email addresses, they are, so I always look at this like in two different ways. There's these both sides of the spectrum. There's the valid, the very good, they're clean emails. It's me and you, like that's all the good. And then you have the bad. These are the bad bounced ones. These are the ones that are no longer deliverable. And then every business has a window of risk, and that depends based on your business. So risky to me are people that, number one, like these disposable emails. That's a big one. The role-based emails, these are the infos, the sales at, the group type emails. And I want to explain the risk of these, by the way, which is, let's say you have this info at email and that's on your campaign and you send it out. Well, we don't know what's behind info. More than likely, this is a group, and this might go to 10, 20, 30, I don't know, 100 people, who knows? And the issue here is that maybe that's the one they signed up for, but they weren't anticipating all these marketing campaigns, and you have 100 people marking your email as spam from one send. That is just like massive destruction on reputation, and that's kind of what I'm highlighting here. These are able to be detected, and maybe you want to filter them out. Maybe you don't want to accept those, by the way, and maybe you want like, hey, appreciate you giving me this, but like, who are you? Because I know your name's not info.
Yeah, I feel like that's just the safer bet as well for all marketers to do, just to kind of segment them out. Great advice there.
Yep.
Let's see what else. This is a good one. What are acceptable delivery and bounce rates?
Delivery rates. Oh, this term. I'm sorry. I just hate it. The acceptable delivery rate is just like close your eyes and don't look at it. It doesn't matter. That's a useless stat. As far as bounce rates go, the industry standard is anything over 2% or 98% delivered, however you want to think about it. 2% is really like where the problems are going to start to begin. I would start to argue that there's no reason to be at a 2% bounce rate. This is totally preventable. And so where I see good and great deliverability is people under 0.5%, because they're proactively doing everything. And by the way, a 0% bounce rate is very hard. And I know that's challenging. Like literally the name of our company is ZeroBounce, but it's very hard to achieve that. And so I don't want to have that as an expectation for anybody. But if you're in the 3, 4, 5, and by the way, I hear lots of like salespeople or sales teams, and they're in the 7, 8, 9, 12, 14% bounce rate. You've just like literally destroyed and sunk your battleship. Like you sunk it. And that is a pain to get, to float back up.
I feel like ZeroBounce is a very aspirational name, I would say. That's what you're going for there.
Awesome.
There was actually a question that talks about sales teams, so I want to jump to that one.
Yeah.
What are some best practices around convincing sales teams that quality is better than quantity? And they said that it's been a pain and they've been talking in circles for years to this point, and I can sympathize with this question.
Yeah, and so can I. And here's the way I look at it too, especially on the marketing side. That's their job. So salespeople are to sell, right? And there's functions of sales. So I'm not ignorant to that. There's inbound leads, there's outbound generation, et cetera. Okay, fine. They're gonna do this. I think I've just come to this mental conclusion. This is gonna happen because they're always looking for ways to do it. So what's the best way to do it? What's the smarter way to do it? And the easiest way that I help do it is by setting expectation. So the expectation that I try to set whenever somebody says to me, I'm buying a list from company X, because I don't want to name anyone. It's not their fault. I tell them 60% of the list, get ready to throw it right in the garbage. Like 60% of the list, throw it in the garbage. And they're like, well, I paid for that. And it's like, okay, well, what do you want from me? Like, it's not good data. And be prepared to scrub that out. And you should also be looking at this. They should be, I'm a big believer in opt-in, by the way. So like this, follow the best practices, but it's just hard. It's very hard. And I think what I've always been trying to do, at least recently, is trying to create the exposure for marketing teams, because they're the ones who are severely aware of deliverability and the challenges, and educating your sales team on potentially better ways to do it, or at least to like try not to just absolutely damage everything that I'm working on. Education will help them. So instead of working totally separate, I highly recommend sales and marketing teams talk and align on potentially like what you're doing, because there's other ways to do it too, like move it on to subdomain. At least like get it off of all of the other stuff I'm trying to do as a marketer. So bridging that gap, I think, is the hardest part.
Yeah, and I find that if you find just like even just one champion within the sales team that you from marketing can really connect to and help them be the educator of their team, often they can get buy-in from individuals within their own team better than maybe marketing telling them to do certain things too. So like find a champion too, like find someone who can talk the talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw a ton of comments. I want to address something. I saw a ton of comments around the Postmaster tools. And by the way, I completely agree. I've been using Postmaster tools so long that I still have access to the old Postmaster tools. And if any of you guys still do, then you would still have access to those other kind of metrics. But the new Postmasters tools is still powerful. So whether it's I'm showing the older version or a newer version, of course, things are being deprecated out. But also what we're doing, and we're almost here, I'm very excited about this, is we're bringing all that data into ZeroBounce into the platform. So we're going to start to also visualize that for everyone so that you can, again, create this one-stop place to see everything deliverability. It's our mission, and nothing's going to stop us from that.
Very nifty, very nifty. I feel like that's something that I wish I had at the start of my email marketing career. Let's jump on to another question. You mentioned opt-in, so this is kind of related. Double opt-in, how much friction does this add to capturing leads?
So it's a lot. And I think I've been around Jay long enough to hear the other side of the story. So most marketers are going to tell you we need double opt-in. I see the point. Okay, fine. And the reason that most people want double opt-in, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that most people want double opt-in because they actually want to confirm that there's a recipient on the other end. I think that is really the primary case. There's, of course, edge cases, bots, things like that. Fine. But if you really also want to do that, that's why we put validation on forms. So if you want to make sure that there's a recipient on the other end, so like we're doing this with massive companies, by the way. I wish I could name them, but they're some of the largest companies in the world. You're signing up on their website, and if you typo it, they're saying, hey, this was a block. This is not a real email. Please give me a good one. Now, if that hit the double opt-in process, I'd agree. It would be caught as well. But you'd have a very frustrated user instead because they didn't know they typoed it. So they're sitting here and going, well, I never got the email. Like, what's wrong with you guys? It's never the business. It's never the user's fault. It's always the business or the marketer's fault. And so that's why I think, the best solution is validation on a form. And I think you can skip the double in process as a result of that, because you are adding a layer of protection with the user. So when it's a bad piece of data, you get it with the user in real time. And I think that's actually more powerful than the double in process. You're absolutely going to lose some click through and people opt doing that double in process. There's no way you get the same subscriber rate.
Yes, very true. We have time for maybe one or two more questions now. This is a good one. Can the type of email you send affect its deliverability? For example, text-based versus stylized and designed.
Of course, but I think regardless of the content, so like I never think about the content. I think about the engagement you're creating from your content. So whether that is a piece of marketing, whether it's a system notification, I do think the premise of your content may drive behavior. So if you're sending offers to people that don't want offers and they mark you as spam, sorry, they're kind of doing what humanly naturally comes to people to do. I didn't want this. But I don't necessarily, I think it depends. You're talking about email marketing or you're talking about salespeople. There's obviously like very different kind of components there. But for me, it's you want engagement. And I think Jay is a master at this. Like he's just an absolute master. Take the tips and tricks that he has, because he's and he said something that was gold. So I want to share this. If you can find a way to get people to email you first, you're an inbox. because the mail server is going to know that they sent an email to you. So of course, when they send an email back, even if it's marketing campaigns, it's going to inbox unless you have a massive problem. But for the majority speaking, it's going to really help and improve your deliverability. So seek engagement. Don't seek tricks, seek engagement.
That's great advice. And unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap it up here. So thank you so much for attending the session. Please be sure to participate in the poll on the right of your screen. You'll also find a free offer pinned to the chat and the deck for today's presentation and an AI recap are also available at the bottom of your screen if you scroll down. So thank you so much again, Brian, for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining, everyone. I appreciate it.